Hello and welcome. You're watching us here on Chartbusters. The Nifty is gaining from strength to strength, opened well, is sustaining those gains and virtually near the high point of today's trading session, 18,150. That's what we're looking at. The mid-cap index, while underperforming, still sitting with a gain of almost 0.5%. So it's a relative underperformance. Looking good for the markets. I'm Manglam Malu, as always with me is Nigel D'Souza. Nigel.
Well, Manglam, let's get straight to the first management then. GHCL, they posted a strong quarter led by higher soda ash realization with profit rising a whopping 200%. The margins too expanded over 1,000 basis points. So the stock is a little bit under pressure, maybe come in for some profit taking. But to understand more, we are joined by Mr. R.S. Jalan, the Managing Director at the company. Hi, Mr. Jalan. Thanks so much for joining in, sir. Well, a couple of questions I had for you. You have a planned maintenance, right? There'll be a small shutdown in Q3. What could be the potential revenue loss due to this?
Good morning. In the month of October, we have already taken the plant shutdown, and the total volume loss will be around 15,000 tons in this quarter.
Revenue terms? In revenue terms, what would it be, sir?
Roughly, it could be something around 30 crores revenue.
All right. Just wanted to understand a couple of things with regards to the EBITDA going forward, because that was the one that, really stood out. I'm looking at your EBITDA per ton. Over the last few quarters, it's jumped from what? 6,600 per ton in Q3 of last year to close to around 15,500. What's the outlook here, and what's causing so much strength in the soda ash market?
There are two things. One is that the number which you are looking at, 6,600, was not the realistic number, because that was at the time of the COVID. That's number one. Second, overall, as you know, that global market of solar as well as the lithium carbonate, there is a huge consumption of soda ash is being used, and because of that, overall, the globally soda ash market is firm. And this increase in the revenue or increase in the margin is primarily because of the demand-supply disbalance, I would call it.
Okay, all right. Mr. Jalan, I remember chatting up with you earlier this year, and you were saying you're going to make sure that this demerger takes place by September. It's got postponed. Give us a stop date now. When do you expect it to go through?
You see, as you know, that the matter is, it has been approved by the shareholder, it has been approved by the creditors. It is only lying with the NCLT. And the revised date which has been given, earlier the date of the NCLT was 20th of September. Now the date is 20th of December. So subject to NCLT approval, this would happen this next quarter.
Okay, so and thereafter the listing plans for the spinning business would be when?
Yeah, after that, whatever the time, say 2-3 months of time which is required, so probably that should happen after that.
And what would the performance of that business look like? I mean, I'm looking at your textile business. You have what, 40,000 spindles out there. By the end of FY23, if you do full utilization, what's the revenue picture of that business likely to be? And you've guided for margins between 17 to 20% in the past?
Yeah, two things. One, as you know, that the textile is passing through a headwind, and at this point of a time, though the revenue in this quarter was higher than the quarter on a YOY basis, however, still the margin was lower because of the headwind. Now, after this 40,000 spindle, which will get completed and fully utilized in the fourth quarter of this year, probably the revenue growth will be around 20%. And margin, I would call it this quarter, the margin is 11% in the textile business. Probably the next 2 quarters will be seeing the similar kind of a margin. But however, 23-24, we are expecting that the textile should revive overall, and because of that, the margin of 17-18% kind of will be possible in 23-24.
And this expansion, sir, is coming on where?
It's in the southern part of the country where we have a spinning already.
Okay, all right. There is some reports that are indicating that locals they're opposing owing to environment, pollution hazards as well. What's the status on that? I think that's at your Kutch expansion.
Yeah, so we are coming with a new greenfield project in Kutch. Yeah. And as you know that this soda ash is almost around 4 players are already there. And we are in the current location where we are producing the soda ash. We are in that vicinity for around 35 years. And there is no such pollution, and we are complying with all the regulations. But now, of course, there are some vested interest where they will be opposing. However, the public hearing which has been done on 17th of October has been successfully completed, and now the process of getting the approval from the government is on.
So should investors worry about smooth expansion out here? Because, I mean, while you say there are vested interests and you have everything with you, could there be a risk of, any sort of disruptions with regards to the expansion out there?
Absolutely no.
Okay. And would there be any additional costs incurred to mitigate any such problems that people may have?
No. Because as I said, there are 4 players. Tata Chemical is there, we are there. And this industry is not that polluting in nature. And this worry, we are addressing that worry of the people, which is mainly because of some miscommunication by the people, vested interest, which we are addressing it. The large population of that location has supported our project. And that's the reason we have got successfully our public hearing completed.
Okay, good to hear then, Mr. Jalan. Also, your net debt has come down, I think, to around 260 crores, right?
Yeah, it's roughly around 260 crore, yes.
Any scope of further reduction from here? And also, you've been talking about inorganic growth. Any size, any timeline that you're looking at?
2 things. One, as you rightly said, most likely by the year end, we will be a net cash positive. And next year, we have a plan like Greenfield project. We have a plan to expand there also. So probably next year, our total capex will be in the range of around 800 to 1,000 crores. And the inorganic chemical, yes, we are working on the inorganic growth, and probably something we should see next year.
Right. And you said what it would be? What size could it be? Around 1,000 odd crores inorganic?
Yeah, this should be. That's the kind of a benchmark we are keeping to ourselves. Depending upon the suitability of the possibility, probably this number could be slightly here and there.
All right. And finally, I'm looking at your presentation. It says, and I'm quoting from there, augmenting our backward integration of raw material for enhanced control on cost. When does the new capacity come on stream with regards to your RBC increasing from what, 60,000 to 120?
RBC will be coming in this quarter. By December, this will get completed. And in terms of the backward integration, you have seen that we have already gotten approval of the board on acquiring one of the limestone mines. And that will improve our limestone reserve. And we are also looking at the possibility of further raw material acquisition so that our backward integration gets stronger.
So from a long-term standpoint on this business, what is the kind of margins that we should be looking at, which is sustainable?
See, if you look at last 15 years of the data, probably you will see definitely the margins are ranging from 29% to around 34-35%. If I take the average of the margin of last 15 years, you'll find that the margin is around 32-33%. So probably the similar kind of margin of 32-33% can safely be considered in this.
All right, take that point. Thanks a lot for joining in and giving us all the outlook for the company. We wish you good luck, Mr. Jalan.
Thank you.
That, ladies and gentlemen, was the management of GHCL saying that they are confident of margins between 31 to 32 odd% going forward, but also increasing their capacity. With that, let's chip into a short break. On the other side, we'll get chatting with the management of LG Balakrishnan and Brothers. They'll be joining in to discuss their second quarter numbers.